Welcome to this week's Future Toolbox podcast. We explore the Z to A of life skills, where each letter stands for a topic and essential tool to help you get ahead in life. Meet Jules and Mark, creators of the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox, and enjoy their straightforward approach to creating growth mindsets that help people turn their dreams into realities. Whether you're a teen in education, a parent, a teacher, or part of a community group, start creating positive habits from today.
Hello there and welcome to the Z to A podcast with me, Mark, and Jules from the Future Toolbox.
Hello and welcome.
The Z to A is a collection of life skills where we pick a letter and a topic and we share with you a tool of how you can improve your own personal development and life. So what is this week's letter?
Oh, this week we have chosen the letter B, which stands for build your own brand.
Build your own brand.
Branding yourself, which has got nothing to do with branding like cattle's used to be. That's what I always used to think of when you talked about branding. I used to feel sorry for them poor animals.
Yeah, those poor animals. We're not going to talk about that today. Who's joining us today though? We're excited.
So today we have got the most amazing, wonderful Sally Wood.
Hello.
Now, most of you that have been listening to our podcasts in the past will know that Sally is a executive director of the Future Toolbox. So she's part of this wonderful team, and it's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, and it's always exciting to be here.
So what have you been up to? Because I haven't actually seen you for a couple of weeks.
Oh, I've been doing all sorts of things. I may have been to London. I may have collected an award on behalf of the award-winning Future Toolbox.
Oh, tell us more.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to go to a very prestigious event, which was the Family Business of the Year, which was held at the Royal College of Physicians at Regent's Park. Very, very fancy event. And on behalf of the Future Toolbox, I collected the Ones to Watch Awards. So a lot of the family businesses at the awards have been established for 5-6 generations. There were businesses there that have been established since the 1800s. And little humble Future Toolbox with just the three of us, that's just been going for 2 years, we won one of the awards for Ones to Watch. So the businesses that the judges really recognised as having true future potential, which was amazing. And it was a wonderful event.
Oh, thank you so much for going on our behalf. Now, the reason that you went on our behalf is because it was actually held on Mark's birthday, wasn't it?
Yay!
And we were doing other things, weren't we?
But what was very exciting was when I went to pick up the award and they'd kind of said, we don't want too many long speeches, we've got a lot to get through. And I just said to the guy presenting the award, can I just say a couple of words? And I actually told the room that it was Mark's birthday, and he got a huge happy birthday cheer from everybody who was there at the Royal College of Physicians, which was amazing. And when they had drinks in the garden afterwards and lots of people said, does Mark know about the award? Have you let him know? What's his response? So it was really, really sweet that people were asking about your birthday and the fact that they wanted to make sure you two knew we'd won the award as well, which was really lovely.
Oh, very special day.
It was indeed, because Jules arranged a lovely boat trip for my birthday, which we went on a catamaran to a beautiful island on the north coast of Lanzarote called La Graciosa. And it was just such a wonderful day. Came back, had some food with some friends, decided whether we needed to go and walk the food off a little bit around the coast. And then all of a sudden Jules went, I wonder if there's any news. And we got the message from you to say we won. So we always say if Carlsberg made birthdays, or in Lanzarote's case, if Dorada made birthdays, because you can buy Carlsberg there, but they're more famous for Dorada.
Other beers are available. Other brands of beer are available. See what I did there?
Yes,
So I see what you did. You brought this seamlessly back to the letter that we're talking about today, which is building your own brand. Now, when we talk about, say, like personal branding, it's basically the process of creating an identity for yourself as an individual, isn't it? So it's about developing well-defined and a consistent message of your presence. So it's about how you want people to see you.
What you want people to say about you when you're not in the room.
That's a great way of putting it. Because if you're not in the room and somebody's slating you and talking behind your back, that's maybe not the person you want to be.
That's true. Yeah, so it's about letting your target audience know who you are, I guess what you stand for. And here's the key thing about why we think branding is really, really good, why it's worth choosing you over your competitors. So that could be anything from going for a job interview, whether you're going for a bid for some work. It could be if you're going for an interview to a college or university place. It's having that brand or something about you that's unique, where you stand above your competitors.
Yeah, it could even be getting a pay rise in your job as well, couldn't it? So there's lots and lots of different ways of building brands. Now, this is a real cool topic as well, because we've actually been working with a few schools recently and doing a lot of building your brand sessions, a part of enterprise days or life beyond school sessions and what have you. And it's really, really good fun, because we do some quizzes with the students to talk about branding and what they recognise. So are you guys up for my little quiz, my little branding quiz?
I love a quiz.
So
Let's do a quiz.
I'm going to read out some branding slogans for you, and I want to see if you can guess what the advert is. So obviously, you both said earlier, just do it, which is Nike. I'm not going to read that one out because you know the answer to that one.
That's quite a popular one, and certainly when we talk about it in schools, everybody knows that one. Always, that's one of the first ones they say, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'll read it out to you. Our listeners can also join in with this as well, because they can see if they can get it before you two can get it. So listeners, at the ready.
No pressure.
Now, I'm going to start with a really easy one. So every little helps.
I know that one.
Is that Sainsbury's?
No, it's Tesco.
I always get those ones wrong.
Yeah, Sainsbury's are going to love you, aren't they?
Oh, and I'm a big Sainsbury's shopper as well.
Okay, complete this one. They should have gone to...
Specsavers. Hey!
That's brilliant. And I've got another one here for you. It does exactly what it says on the tin.
Ron Seal.
Yeah. Do you remember the Ron Seal man? He used to comb his hair with Ron Seal.
What if his name was Mr. Ron
Mr.
Seal?
Ron Seal.
Was it really?
I don't know.
No,
I've
it's-
made that up. It might have
You
been.
had me thinking there. Right, I've got another one for you here. What's up?
Oh,
What was that?
Budweiser.
Yeah,
Oh
Budweiser.
gosh, that was a while back, wasn't
That
it?
was.
It's
About
amazing how
20
these
years
things
ago.
stick in your mind, though, isn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are really, really great ones.
Oh, give us another one.
We've got another one here, yeah. Maybe she's born with it.
Maybelline.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
And they're great.
Frosties? No?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Tony the Tiger, isn't
Tony the
it?
Tiger.
Tiger,
It wasn't
yeah.
Frosties.
It was
Yeah.
Frosties. And who makes Frosties?
Oh,
Kellogg's.
Kellogg's. Yeah, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like Kellogg's. I would always associate that with
It was
Frosties.
Frosties. Yeah, Kellogg's Frosties. Yeah. I mean, we could fill a whole podcast with this.
Oh,
I've
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah,
I've
it's
got
good,
more.
isn't it?
Okay, I'm going to go for one here. This might be a little bit more difficult. Have it your way.
have it your way.
Yeah. I don't know this one, actually. I've just found it at the bottom of the list on
Have
this,
it your way.
this website that I've Googled.
Oh, give us a
for
clue.
brands.
It's got to be something you can personalise, hasn't it?
Okay, I'll give you the competition. So this is direct competition. I'm loving it. And there's a little whistle in it. It's really annoying.
I'm loving it. No, I immediately thought
Oh, is
I'm
it-
loving it. I thought of Kevin
is it
Keegan,
Burger
but
King?
that's not right.
It is Burger King. Yeah, they say have it your way. So their competition, I'm loving it, is...
McDonald's.
Of course, yeah. And another one of their competition, it's finger licking good. That's quite easy, really. Isn't
Oh,
it?
is that
KFC.
KFC, isn't it?
And really interestingly, KFC used to be called Kentucky Fried Chicken, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They actually got made to change the name to KFC because, I don't know, American lawsuit said it was against trade descriptions because the chicken didn't actually come from Kentucky, so they couldn't call it Kentucky Fried Chicken.
But I seem to remember during COVID, when all the hygiene regulations were in, they dropped the finger licking good because they didn't really want people licking the fingers when they were saying don't touch things, sanitise your hands.
Interesting.
Whether they've brought that back or not, but you always think of finger licking good with KFC, don't you?
You do.
Yeah. Here's one more for you then.
Oh.
We've got good things come to those who wait. Yeah, you see, this one stumped you, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know, it's one for our Irish friends. It's Guinness.
Yeah.
Of course.
But isn't this
Am I getting all the
amazing?
beer ones?
Yeah, you're getting all the beer
Yeah,
ones.
well done, Sally. What's that say about you?
But isn't this amazing because we know all these brands and instantly they're recognisable because these companies have spent millions and billions of pounds advertising and getting this word stuck into our head. So I guess if we're, I don't know, like a teenager in school who's looking to build their brand, or if we're looking for a pay rise in our job, we need to get stuck in the heads of the people who are going to make the decisions on this. And we need to create these brands that are positive. So if we take something like Every Little Helps, which was the first one, Tesco's.
Yes.
Tesco's pride themselves on knocking a few pence off. But there was always these little brands around putting a little bit of money in your pocket.
Every little helps.
Every little helps. That could be a good brand.
Isn't that... Do they not use that? I might just made that up.
I think
You might have made it up, but if Lidl's branding department are listening, Jules is available for hire.
Maybe they can't do that because it's too close to...
Yeah, I think Tesco's might sue them.
Yeah, but I just thought that sounded quite good.
It does.
Lidl's, if you do use it, I thought of it first. Just remember, Future Toolbox.
You heard it here. We have date stamped this podcast. But yes, so how do these people get their brands lodged into the decision makers' minds?
If we sort of go back to the beginning, because it's all very well talking about branding yourself and we're saying why you should do it, but how do you actually begin to develop your own personal brand? How would you do that? Because in my mind, it would start with knowing who you are and what it is that you want to be known for. And that's why these slogans work. Now, here at the Future Toolbox, we've got our wonderful logo, which is Milo, and he comes to all of our sessions, doesn't he? And we introduce him when we're in front of, whether it be teenagers, learners in school, or whether it be with a community group, because he's part of the Future Toolbox. He's part of our brand. And in terms of study, one of our logos is we make revision and study easy and fun. That's kind of like one of our slogans, and it's true with everything we do. We want to make it easy and fun because that way it's memorable and you learn better. For you guys, if you've got to think about how to do that, what is it that you want to be known for? And that's how you start thinking about your personal brand, you know. And that's what all these guys have done, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think we need a multi-million-pound budget for that. We make revision and study easy and fun. Because most people look at us and go, how'd you do that?
It's true.
But yes, you're right. So how do these people get known for their good brand? Now, I've got a little story here that we've shared in some of our sessions about how to build a really bad brand. And this was a story that we knew as the one-star Google girl.
Heard of it, but tell me more.
This young lady was going for job interviews, and every time she was unsuccessful, she went onto the company's Google page and left them a bad review. And one day she was attending an interview, and the interviewer realised that a friend of his had actually talked about this person, and he quickly somehow worked out that she was the person that was putting the bad reviews on websites. So he confronted her and found out that she was actually the person, and ended the interview there and said, you can go away and leave me a 1-star review on Google because I just don't want to employ you. I'll just take the 1-star now. In fact, have my computer and do it now if you want.
Wow.
So it's probably not a good brand to build, is it?
I would say not.
I'd say that's a pretty bad brand to build.
But yeah, so if you're thinking about building your own brand, whether it be for you personally or your business, make sure that it's something that's good.
I guess the 1-star Google girl, I guess the issue is that she wasn't even thinking about building a brand. She hadn't even thought of the repercussions for her personal brand. She probably didn't even think she'd got one. But that example really shows that she did, and it wasn't a great one.
Actually, that's just reminded me of another social media one that was doing the rounds on the internet when I was doing some research for some of our branding programs. And there was a story of a guy in America who'd been offered a job, and he went onto Twitter the day before he started the job and said, I'm going to start this and I'll replace the swear word with very rubbish job tomorrow, and put that live on Twitter. And somebody replied straight away to him and said, it's okay, you don't have to worry about starting this very rubbish job tomorrow because I'm your boss and I've just fired you before you started. So probably not the smartest move in the world.
Probably not the smartest. Yeah. And a little tip there from the Future Toolbox, careful what you put on social media.
Well, this is it. And there's hundreds and hundreds of stories out there where people have got fired for slating their customers or their bosses or whatever. So yeah, don't do it.
So the example I've got was those of us who were around in the 1980s and 1990s. Do you remember Ratner's Jewellers?
I do. I have.
Yeah, vaguely remember that.
Yeah, but they don't exist anymore. They were the biggest jewellery high street chain in the UK. They had hundreds and hundreds of shops, and their owner, Gerald Ratner, was doing a speech at the Royal Albert Hall, and he described some of their products as total crap. But it gets better. This is actually a really funny line. They were selling some earrings for 99p in Ratner's, and he said, they're cheaper than a prawn sandwich, but they probably won't last as long, which is hilarious. And the press picked up on this and had an absolute field day. He ended up losing, I think it was over £100 million, and all of his 300 shops got shut down. So it was a complete and utter own goal. It was a complete disaster.
Poor guy.
Wow, that is a story of how to take down your own business. Yeah. But it just shows you, doesn't it, that your brand, you can build it up, but very, very easily by doing something a little bit reckless that you could completely damage everything, couldn't you?
You can lose it all overnight if you're not careful. And that's exactly what happened there.
Yeah, I think one of the most dangerous ones is the Marmite slogan. And they said, love it or hate it. And
I think that divisiveness isn't always good, is it? Because if you're forcing people to take an extreme position, there might be people who are a bit whatever about it, and suddenly they've got to decide to be in the hate it camp.
Yeah, although I think it's quite good because I think it makes you talk about it. It's like, well, do you like it? No, I hate it. Or, no, I absolutely love it. And yeah, I think it's quite a good.
Do you know what was really interesting? I spent a month in France and I went to language school, and one of the things that we did was to bring in things from our cultures, different food and drinks for people to try. It turned into chocolate wars because we had lots of Belgian and Swiss people in our class.
I love the sound of that.
Which was
Chocolate
good.
Wars. That's my favourite type of war.
But what we did, and for those of you who've listened before, I often mention Matt, my partner, and he loves food, he loves to cook, and he was staying with me in France at the time, and we decided we were going to make a kind of English afternoon tea. So Matt and I were there making cucumber sandwiches, cutting the crusts off. I took a great big teapot, we took some milk in, we took some Yorkshire tea bags, and Matt said, why don't we take some, we took cake and biscuits, and Matt said, why don't we take some Marmite and get them to try it and see who loves it and hates it. But they don't have Marmite over in France. They don't have that advertising brand. So nobody had that preconception of loving or hating it. Most people tried Marmite and went, oh, that's all right. It's quite nice. Nobody hated it. Some people loved it. What they absolutely all hated was having tea with milk in. That was the thing that got the Marmite reaction from all my sort of classmates was, that's disgusting, I'm not trying that. And people were like, oh, shall I try some tea with milk in? No, you try it first, like we would be with Marmite. So it's really interesting when you don't have that preconception of a brand, how different your reaction can be.
That's madness.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, people get something planted in their mind and they'll make a decision based on that, won't they?
Yeah.
I've thought of a really good example of how to build a good brand for a person. And Jules, you remember this. We did a workshop for a summer school as part of the NCS a few years ago. And we were talking about brands, jobs, and we were talking about how to turn maybe a really rubbish job that you're doing at the moment into a really good job. And this guy put his hand up and he said that he worked for a garden centre. Now, I asked him to rate out of 1 to 10 how much he enjoyed this job. 1 being it's the worst thing in the world, 10 being it's the greatest, obviously. And he said 0. So I asked him why it was a 0. And he just basically said that a lot of the people that he worked with just gave him all the rubbish jobs because he was the part-time summer school type worker there. And he was the youngest. And one of the jobs he had to do was basically shovel horse manure into people's cars or trucks or whatever. Not literally into the car.
Put it on your back seat.
Yeah.
But then we turned it around and flipped it and said, okay, so what have you actually got from the job? What's the best thing? And he said, I actually love working with customers. I like talking to people. So, for example, the other day, I was having to put some bags of very smelly stuff into a trailer on the back of this guy's car. And instead of doing it with attitude, I started talking to him and I was having a conversation with him. And I happened to notice that when he opened his boot, he got loads of VR headsets in there. Now, my passion is VR. I absolutely want to work in that. So I struck up this conversation with him about VR and said, how come you've got so many of these kits in the boot of your car? And the chap told him that he runs his own VR company.
Oh, wow.
So when the guy had finished putting all the smelly stuff in the back of the car trailer, the chap said to him, do you know what? I think you're a really polite guy and I'm actually looking to hire somebody at the moment. So have you got your number on you and I'll give you a call? And the guy gave him a call and offered him an interview. And this came from his really, really great attitude of building his brand in that very, very short space of time. He was able to secure himself a really good opportunity from a 0 out of 10 job.
I remember that day, and I remember the guy, and I hope he's still working there, and I hope it's still going really well for him. But that's a really great example of building your brand is also like building your reputation. So it can sort of make or break your career. So it's really, really key, do you think, Sally?
I do, I agree. And I think that's something I've learned as I've got older, that being yourself, being authentic and thinking how you want to come across is really, really important. And I know my sort of personal brand with you guys is everybody needs a Sally. But seriously, that's what you thought when you set up the community interest company and you said we need some extra help. Your first thought was everybody needs a Sally. And I've clearly created a brand that makes people like you think that's what we want. I'm reliable, I'm hardworking, I know what I'm doing, but I'm fun to work with. So everybody needs a Sally is my personal brand.
That is yours. I think that's fantastic. And we created that as well.
Yay! We created that brand and we don't want anything for it. So that's fabulous. Everyone needs a Sally. So just to finish up, I'm going to give you 3 more brands.
Okay.
Oh, go on then.
Here we go. Once you pop, you can't stop.
Pringles.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
It gives you wings.
Red Bull.
And we've got one more for you here. So there are some things that money can't buy. For everything else there is
MasterCard.
Oh, I thought you'll never get that one.
Well, she is finance. Come on, she'll know.
It's all about money. Because I know that one.
So, multi-million-pound branding budget. That's what we need. If anybody can help us out with the Future Toolbox, please send us some money so we can get out there. We make revision and study easy and fun.
We have got a shiny new GoFundMe page. Maybe we should put a link in the comments.
That's a very, very good idea, isn't it?
That's why everybody needs a Sally.
Everybody needs a Sally. So where do they find you?
Best place to find me is on LinkedIn. So look for Sally Wood Consultancy. I'm the one with the glasses and the smile.
That's a lovely. I'm the one with the glasses and the smile.
What
But
a brand!
you know you found me. You know you found me.
So thank you again, everybody, for listening this week. If you want to find out more about us, go to our website, which is futuretoolbox.co.uk. You can also follow our social media, which is on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
TikTok.
You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we're also on LinkedIn, and we're also smiling because we are.
We are everywhere.
So again, thank you for joining us. Have a fabulous week, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Bye for now.
See you later.
Thank you for joining us for the Z2A of Life Skills with Jules and Mark of the Future Toolbox. Don't forget to head over to their website, which is futuretoolbox.co.uk, where you can find lots of free resources, plus a host of books in the store, as well as subscribing to the membership site. Follow Future Toolbox Instagram, TikTok and Facebook at Future Toolbox, and subscribe to their YouTube channel too.